Alright y'all, something you may notice after you come back from a long trip or even just driving around town is all the bugs. They're all over the headlight here, they're all over my triples, my forks. They are absolutely everywhere. And you can even see them over here. They're on the mirrors. You also got all this dirt all around here. You got all over the tank here, all over the motor, oil filter, voltage regulator fins. It's everywhere. And then also, since I was driving around in the mountains, come over here and look at the exhaust pipes underneath the air cleaner here. Got all this here oil that drips down. Because how they designed these, there are breather bolts inside the air cleaner here. That way they can vent the pressure from the heads into the air cleaner. Thank you, EPA. Now as a result, you get a little bit of oil, especially when you're doing a lot of hard climbs. It's going to come out with it and goes into your air cleaner, and then it drips down. So it'll get down here all over your motor, and it'll get on your exhaust pipe if you have a crossover pipe like mine has here. So I'm going to show you how we can clean all this up. Now this is not a detailing video, this is just a cleaning video. There will be a detailing video in the future. Because as you may notice here, this front fork here and the rim of this wheel here, the aluminum, it's nice and shiny, save the bugs and a little bit of dirt. Whereas you cross to the other side here, you can see this aluminum that's all corroded. The wheel's the same way. The rear wheel is exactly the same. I took some time and I'd polished this one up. And I'm gonna have a video in the future that shows you how you can make this side look just like this side. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is just get everything rinsed off just your regular old hose with the sprayer nozzle on the end. Now a thumb will work just as well as a nozzle, but this is just pretty much a typical sprayer. You're just going to get everything all nice and wet here. The reason we're not using a pressure washer is because we'll look how much exposed stuff we have on this here bike. Pressure washer will just force water in the places we don't want it to be. Alright, next up, with everything already being all nice and wet, we're just going to spray the whole thing down with some nice soapy water. What I'm using here is just a mixture of water and your standard Dawn dish soap. Now while using things like Dawn, or not usually, the method in which you would want to do things, as it will strip away all your wax. This bike is really dirty and we just want to clean away absolutely everything. So we will be putting a coat of wax on after we're done here. We're just going to put this on. We're just going to let her sit for a little while. Let it try and break up some of the dirt and the grease. Now that it's been soaking there for a little while, we're just going to rinse it all right back off again. Working from top to bottom like before. As it's going to let all the dirt run down here to the bottom. Right now, we haven't even touched the bike. There's already quite a bit less dirt. This tank is not so bad here anymore. These bugs are mostly still here. We're going to have to actually get some elbow grease to clean that stuff off. Now how we're going to do that is just how you're going to do a typical washing. You can get yourself your buckets of water. and you're just gonna clean. Now I usually employ the 2-bucket method. As you can see, I got these 2 buckets here. This bucket over here, I got a little soap in there to help break things down a little bit. Whereas this one, I use this as a rinse bucket. Every time you take your rag off, you're gonna rinse it in here. You can see down here in the bottom, we have this, which you rub it against, which will pull off the dirt and put in the bucket, and then it'll end up down the bottom underneath. All right, so we're gonna start out. Gonna start here towards the top of the bike. It's gonna start wiping things down. Remember, you don't go in circles, make straight line motions. That way, if you do get a scratch in there that you want to get out, it's much easier to get out a straight line scratch than it is a swirl. So then we just use this. Now we're just going to go down our bucket, rinse it real good, squeeze her out, back into the soap bucket. It's going to keep on cleaning. Now that we got it mostly clean, now it's time to get to the places that are harder to reach. To do that, you can get a detailing brush or a simple toothbrush. And you just get into these places, just start cleaning. Remember, this is important because this is an air-cooled motor, which means dirt is going to inhibit the ability to shed heat, which means more heat in your motor, which means shorter life. Now that we've finished that, now we're going to get a bigger brush. And take that brush and start cleaning off our tires and our wheels. When you're done here, you may be tempted to go and get some nice tire black on these wheels. Let's be honest, it would look good. The problem is, the stuff is slick. So if you get that on your tread, well, kind of gonna go and slip out and slide, and well, black's not really worth it. All right, so everything has been cleaned. So now we no longer have all those bugs we had before. Look how much better that already looks. Next thing to do is rinse it off, dry it off, and we got a couple more steps to go after that. So we're going to dry her off, similar to washing, nice straight strokes, working from top to bottom. We're going to do this until there is no water left on it, and if you're getting dirty during this, which you can see I'm not, it means you need to go back and wash that area again. While you're drying the bike, you're likely going to run into the same issue that you ran into while cleaning. You got places that need dried that you just can't get into. Now you got some options. You can let it be. You can use something like, say, a Q-tip. But another option would be to use an air compressor. So you just simply get in there, and blow things right on out. Now at this point, one could just call it a day, put the seat back on, and be done. That is, providing you didn't use Dawn dish soap and you used the car soap. If you didn't, then you are going to need to wax this, but we're actually going to do one step before waxing it to help you clean off contaminants even farther. Now what we're going to use here is simply detailing clay. This will help pull out all those little pieces that we couldn't pull off by simply cleaning it. Make it finish a lot cleaner, a lot less contaminants in it. Now when you do this, you're going to put on your gloves. Reason being, we are trying to take contaminants out, and with oils in your hands are certainly a contaminant. So let's put on a glove. This isn't for the purpose to protect your hands. This is for protecting your paint. So just get a small piece, because this is going to get dirty. We will have to replace this. What you're going to do, you're going to get from earlier your soapy water, do a little spray. You're just going to take your clay, you're just going to rub the surface. This is going to go and pick up all those little pieces of dirt that you missed. Make your surface real smooth. As you do this, you should feel your surface getting a little bit smoother. Now if you look at the clay now, it's not too bad yet. You move into a certain other area though that is dirtier, it will get much worse. Let's do that. And then you're just going to knead your clay a little bit here. Get that dirt back inside. A little more spray as a lubricant. You just continue till you got through all the paint. Now after you finish wiping down all your surfaces with your clay, if you look at your clay, you're going to see there's some dirt in here now. So this clay, you don't want to use this anymore. You used this once, you take it, you toss it. Then you're going to take your spray again. It's going to spray down your surfaces. I'm going to wipe them all back down, give you a nice, clean, fresh surface. All ready for waxing. Now that we got the bike all wiped off, it brings us to the waxing stage. We have a couple options how we can do this. You can do a liquid wax. You could have one of those paste wax, or you can also use one of these spray waxes. Me, I like to use this liquid and the spray. So how I do this is, like normal, you will take on your applicator pads, you're going to take a little wax, put her on there, just like you would on any car. So now you're going to come over, you're just going to wax exactly like you always would. Now one thing I do like to do, take off your gas cap there, being careful while you do this. Just wipe right around it, making sure you don't spill it, because I did just fill this bike up. It is all the way up there, not in the filler neck, of course, though. All right, so we applied that wax. Now I'm going to take our microfiber cloth here. Just going to go ahead, buff it out there. I already got a nice protective shine there. I'm going to set my cap back on. Take my spray wax, spray, and simply wipe off. Put the cap back. And that there is all there is to it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure that we get all of our surfaces, all these painted surfaces, including these on the frame. The thing I like to do when you have bare metal, say of course like this metal here, because well this metal gets hot and well your wax usually doesn't appreciate that. Same as with over on your exhaust pipes here, they also get very hot and well you're just cooking the wax. It doesn't do any good whatsoever. But I do like to put wax on like this metal here that I polished. Help keeps it from oxidizing, and this doesn't get particularly hot, so it's a good way to help protect it. Same with the polished areas of the wheels. So I actually did this a couple months ago and we've put several thousand miles on it, and look at it, it still shines. Could use a little touch up, but that's polished aluminum for you. All right, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna finish polishing up this bike, then we're gonna finish up the video. All right, now she's all nice and clean, shiny. Now all we have left to do here, first we're going to take our multi-tool and put it back underneath the seat. And then we're just going to take the seat here, just going to reattach it. Remove the screw from there, slide underneath, and it hooks on this front tab here. Just like that. Put the screw back in. And we're finished. The bike is nice and clean. It's waxed, so it's protected. Everything's all back to how it should be. Seat while it was off, I took it and I added a protectant and a preservative to it, because sitting out here it will start to crack after a while. And this seat is just about 17 years old, and if you look at it, there's absolutely no signs of cracking whatsoever. So I will show you how to do that when I also show you how to clean and preserve your gear, because if you look at the gear that we had on this trip, it's also just splattered in bugs. So we're going to clean that off. Do the same thing to all our leathers. Until next time, this has been Ramblin' Chris, cleaning up after rambling.